Discover how to attract quality leads, your free ebook inside. Hey, Nick, welcome. Thank you for joining our community. I'm super excited and grateful that you're here. I see you opted in for my gift, and let me assure you, this is the best decision you've made in a long time. A bit about me. My name is Glenn, and I'm a coach. I started as a Facebook ads expert, but my true calling as a teacher led me to transition into coaching. When I started out, I had no one to guide me through the complexities of the online world. The biggest challenge for any business owner, whether beginner or expert, is finding quality leads, those who raise their hands, believe in you and your solutions, implement the solutions, attract other quality leads, are eager to throw their money at you. This ebook was born from my experiences since 2017 in tackling these challenges and is packed with insights on 1, attracting quality leads via organic marketing, 2, getting inbound leads from a single platform initially, 3, engaging with your leads, 4, getting them on DM/calls, 5, dealing with objections, 6, closing deals on DM/calls, 7, creating an automated process to avoid feast and famine. This book embodies years of my online marketing experience and the system I developed to attract quality leads without paid ads, purely via organic marketing. Normally sold for $9 on my website, I'm giving it to you for free as a thank you for subscribing. Click here to get your ebook now. See you, Glenn. P.S. Stay tuned for value-packed emails in the coming days, including how I helped a student heal their inner child trauma and close a high-ticket client in just 7 days. That's it.
What a way to start 2025.
If you enjoy The Fix and want to get access to even more good stuff, join the Fix Accelerator today. Get access to special masterclasses from Nick and me, watch expert interviews with industry legends, join live copy feedback sessions every week, and get connected to our very own private copy network. Visit thefixaccelerator.com for more information. I actually read that email out to my family on the 1st of January this year.
So through the Tane system with the house, yeah, which was set up with my Christmas present, the Tannoy system.
So this is a welcome email. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you to whoever sent that in. As always, send us your copy. We'll review it free of charge here on The Fix. Just chucking a little advert in there. Right. So what do we know about welcome emails? Like what should they do and what shouldn't they do?
Well, there's a little bit of meta going on here because through this, and there's some good copy in this, by the way. The person who sent it in asked us, Nick, to give you full remit to go to town if necessary. But there's a certain meta element where we're talking about getting new leads, and the key word I read out a couple of times, which I could hear in my own ticking brain, was to engage. And when it comes to getting leads and engaging with leads, and when it comes to the first point of call, you have to engage with a lead, your welcome email is perhaps the most important, or certainly one of the greatest opportunities to do that. It is the point at which someone has said, yes, I want to engage with you. And that is therefore an opportunity to engage with them.
So the way I would think about this is you can, let's say there's 2 ways of doing this, right? You can be super transactional in a welcome email. Somebody has just asked you for something. They've either given you money or they've signed up an email. Or you can be sort of relationship driven, which I think is the stronger option. Now that email was perfectly fine, but very transactional. It basically said, I think it was slightly too jargony for me. Lots of opt-in here's and, like, is there a worse group of people on this planet to hear talk about their job than marketers? I don't think so. It's, it's just not that interesting. Even to marketers, I think, Jesus, is that a fox? It is. Look at that. You see that behind me?
On the video, there is a huge fox behind you. And
welcome to England. Sorry.
Fox.
For 2025, the fix box will be appearing behind shoulders.
Right, we should have started the episode there. No explanation of what we're talking about. Let's just talk about this guy. Okay, sorry, that's through me. You don't want to be too jargony, even though you're talking to people whose profession it is, because you're trying to bring a little bit of life to it. So that was very much, you asked for an ebook. Here's your ebook, and here's what you'll find in that ebook. Now that's fine, but probably, one, they're about to read the ebook, so they're going to find out what's in it. Two, they've already signed up for it, so you don't need to over explain what's in there. So what I'm looking for in a welcome email is sense of voice, sense of personality, sense of sort of mission. So if I was welcoming somebody to the fix, that's what that's what we're looking for, isn't it? We want to introduce ourselves, not just, my name's Nick, I've been a copywriter. I want to make a joke about Mr. Blobby or something strange and unique to me to let you know that you're part of our world now. This is part of a really cool universe of people, and you're going to love it. You're trying to make them feel excited and part of something. So you've got to bring some personality, and you can push the transaction further down. So you can say, hi, Glenn, I've got your ebook. It's waiting for you. Just before I give you the link, let me just tell you something. And then I'd get into a story of some sort, or introduce some sense of mission, or talk to the reader about some problem that they're having. Like, you might be struggling with X, Y, and Z. Well, you're in the perfect place to deal with this. This is what we're all about. This is sort of, we talk about like values and things like that in businesses. It's often a load of old arse. This is the moment to talk about those things. So think about establishing a relationship rather than executing a transaction. So I think actually the PS on that email was like, hey, stay tuned for more stuff, and everything else was transactional. If you swap those round and say, hey, your ebook's just 1 second before I give it to you, and then start to talk to them about this community that they're part of, or this world that they can look forward to, or these messages that they're going to get, and who you are and who they are. And then at the end say, enough about me. Here's your ebook. That's the transaction done at the end. That's how I would do it, because I want to establish a relationship. That's what businesses are built on, relationships.
So philosophically, I guess you can look at it. You're looking to engage your new customer by building a relationship with them. Stylistically, how you do that, nothing says I'm building a relationship than speaking in bullet points and lists of numbers. Like, that's how I start all new relationships. If I see someone in the pub and I want to get to know them, I'm like, hey, number one, this is this. Number two, this is Nick. Yeah. Obviously, I speak in jest. I would be avoiding stuff like that. Just as a quick stylistic thing on this email, getting into stories. How do you tell stories? You tell them in a narrative way, in an interesting way, not just listing details in that way that you've done in this email. For the person who sent this in, to be fair, later on, they've got other emails that they'd send in this process, and they've got story emails, they've got these things. So very capable of it, but bring that to the fore. And I think that's a mistake that people make. Maybe it's just the way business is set up, and too many like administrators have made it like this, and people have just forgot. But that first email isn't just a transactional fulfillment exercise. It is the first email, is the first point of contact in that relationship. So you should treat it, if you think, it'd be good to tell a story later on, no, it'd be good to tell a story now. It'd be good to reveal that stuff straight away. Don't get trapped into that, all right, we just need to get the offer out the way, or get whatever I've promised them on the squeeze page out the way. There's ways to do that. So stylistically as well, when it comes to doing a relationship, and you said, Nick, you want to tell a joke that reveals who you are and all of that kind of stuff. You can only really truly do that in the style of how you will be communicating thus forth. like you have to write this email like you would write every other email. It has to keep rolling on. A side story on that, because I was telling someone else about this recently. Mark Ford once told us of a story where they would send out sales promotions, big long sales letters, in like a magazine form, so it looked like you were reading an issue of the editorial that you'd get. And then people would complain when they got the editorial saying, well, this editorial was really dry and boring and I didn't enjoy it. I really enjoyed that first issue that you sent me. And it's like, no, the first issue was a sales piece, but people get used to that thing. So obviously years later, we've blended that a lot more. Sales copy has become much more editorialized and editorial has become much more salesy, but you need to blend that. You need to, the voice needs to be all the way through. It can't just be bullet point transactional, all of that stuff. So be aware of that. I think this writer, and certainly anybody else thinking about this, just write how you would write if you were speaking to that person for the first time, not trying to be transactional with them.
You can actually amplify it a little bit. You know how, like, if you watch the first episode of a sitcom you really like, you often think, oh my God, the characters are all so broad here. And it's because they are in the first episode of anything, that everything's slightly amplified to disseminate as much information as they can to the viewer. And later on, it calms down because they're not having to do so much exposition. You can go a little bit further with it. So, you know, so a few things you want to avoid. Don't write we. Don't write from a group of people. A letter from one person to one person. Okay? You know exactly who those two people are because this person's just signed up, so you know what they're interested in. You know how they've behaved because they're on this welcome page. You know who your founder, marketing director, whoever is writing the letter is. Okay, now just bring to bear the same writing techniques we're going to employ anywhere else. Open a loop. You know, have the opening line say, and that was how I beat Mark Ford at musical chairs, ... just to use a Mark Ford example, because I've been thinking about that. And then say, I'll tell you the rest of that story in a second. And then get into it and start talking about marketing or whatever. And then at the end say, actually, do you know what? I never got around to telling you that story about Mark Ford. Read tomorrow's message and I'll tell you the rest. Like open a multi-day loop, because you're trying to signal to somebody like, this is going to be worth your time reading what I have to say. It's going to be funny. It's going to be entertaining. You're going to learn something. I know. And especially if you're writing about marketing, I know what I'm doing. That's what you're signaling to them. So that the next time they see your name pop up in their inbox and think, oh, that last one was quite good. That's all you're really trying to create a bit of warmth around yourself. So there's that. Another thing, just to develop this transactional versus relational thing. Transactional marketing is really, really common. We promised you X. Here it is. Why not give them something that you didn't promise them? Surprise them. Give them something of value that you didn't use just to get their email address, because that's super high value. It's not like I promised you this and here it is. It's like, I know I didn't even mention this, but I just wanted to share this with you because I think it's fantastic. Give them something else of value. You do want to deliver on your transaction, but you don't want the whole message to be like, here is the thing you asked for. There needs to be a little bit of room for personality, surprise, that sense of warmth that we want, and then just fulfill the other parts as quickly as you can. And I don't think you need to oversell the report, because it's kind of like, well, you're going to read it now. If you really want to, you could say, like, just while you're reading, I really want you to make sure you read chapter 7 twice. I'm not going to tell you why, but like chapter 7 is super important. I spent ages on it. And when you get there, you'll really see what I mean. Because that just that's a different kind of open loop, but you're creating some sense of, I guess you're signaling to your reader that, like, here's the thing, but there's a longer relationship I want to have with you here. And you're throwing forward to what's to come. And you're establishing this sense that, like, I am interested in you. It's not just about, here's the thing. Now I've got your email address. Now I can market to you. Otherwise, if you signal that, the reader's going to pick up on that really quickly.
Yeah. There's a line here, Nick, that I'm interested in. My instinct tells me it's not the best way to deal with this. It says, normally sold for $9 on my website. I'm giving it to you for free as a thank you for subscribing. And there's an exclamation mark. By the way, I'd get rid of the exclamation marks. Like, oh my God, I'm so shocking that I've given you this $9 thing. What I'm more concerned about is that, to me, that $9 and the fact that you say normally it's sold for this on my website, but I'm giving you for free as a thank you. That is kind of transaction. It's kind of bribery kind of thing. I don't feel like it. It kind of makes me, as a very cynical person, I'm reading this overly cynical. Not everybody would do this. This is why I'd get your opinion on it, Nick. But it's like, well, $9 isn't a lot. So now you've actually said, like, this is worth only $9. I'm giving it for free. So it's not even worth that much because I'm giving you for free. It seems to, though in theory, you're like, well, it has a monetary value, but I'm giving it to you free. You'd think that was a good thing. I think it's dangerous to bring too much attention to that unless you've got a really good reason to. If it was £1,000 and then like you're giving it for 1,000, why you would be doing that, I don't know. But if there was like a genuine reason and you could really talk about that reason, great. But I think where it's just this kind of quick throwaway, it's $9 over there for. It kind of evidences that you're willing to charge some people $9 for this thing, but you actually don't value it. It's just a bit messy and mucky. I would avoid it personally.
They also know by this point, because you've probably already said that to them on the squeeze page prior to this anyway. And yeah, you're right. $9 is like, oh, thanks, $9. You know,
it's rather than what you're talking about, where you'd give something that you'd not talked about, like not spoken about before, and go, oh, here's extra stuff. That fills me with a wow, I'm getting more. Whereas at $9, you don't have to be as cynical as me to go, well, that's not a lot. Like, all right, thanks. And it gives you, it's a deflating feeling rather than feeling pumped. So I'd always be aware of like any opportunity where it's kind of I want to say a marketing cliche to put that in rather than a copy cliche. Well, but it's like,
if you were being technical about it, you'd say that's internal logic to justify something. It doesn't involve the reader. I charge $9 for this over here. Now I'm giving it you for free. So, oh, great. But like, if you say in this book, you'll learn X, Y, and Z, and I've put, one part of this took me 10 years to master, but once you've read it, some sense of the value, say, and don't worry about paying me, it's free. You know what I mean? Like it's that then involved. Like, oh, I'm getting
the element as well when it says there's a thank you for subscribing, that makes it much more transactional. So it highlights that you've subscribed. A better way, I think, overall to phrase a sentence like that would be go, look, I really want to give you this guide. Normally I'd charge for this, but because you're joining our community, because you're becoming part of what we want, what's in that guide is really like fundamental to our beliefs and everything. That's why I'd like you to have it. That makes me feel special rather than saying you're saving me $9 kind of thing. So always think of ways you can move away from the transactional into that relationship, long-term, deeper connection. That's not to say transactional emails aren't useful and to be used sometimes, but even a transactional email delivered in a more emotional and engaging way will probably 9 times out of 10 be more effective anyway. So always be looking as a general rule of thumb to move away from transactional language and language that relates to the actual transaction of signing up, subscribing, like joining. It wants to be, how can you make that more emotional?
Well, yeah, just if you want to be transactional, but just be aware that if you do that on your welcome page, what you're telling your reader is, I'm a transactional person. So when the first email you get from a clothes shop after you've signed up on their website is, here's 10% off your next order. What they're telling you is, we are a shop, we sell you stuff. Here is a way of buying some stuff cheaper. That's fine. That's fine. If that's your business model, you just want to let people know, like, do you know that we sell things? Yeah, you do? Good. Here's a way of saving money. That's fine. But that's not the type of business that this is. So for instance, if we did that, the fix would be like, what? I thought this is like, I mean, if anything at the fix, we give stuff away. Like, do you want to come to one of our events? We'll buy all your beers. God knows why we do that, but we do it because it's kind of fun and it's part of what we wanted our business to be, which is anti-transactional in lots of ways. So just do it if you want to do it, but do it for the right reasons. And pretty much in a business like this, try and bring people into a world and say, you're part of something now. You're part of something bigger than yourself, and you're part of something that's of use to you, is valuable to you. So you don't want to signal that, like, hey, by the way, we sell stuff. So just be aware of those two registers that you can fall into, and choose the right one at the right time. Transaction is best used like around a deadline. Hey, you've looked at this product. I know you're interested. I'm just telling you it comes offline tonight or about to sell out. Are you in or aren't you? It's transactional, but it's fine because it's a different part of the funnel. Anyway, Glenn, we could probably witter on about this, or you just put some music on behind me. See if we can get the fox back. Dance.
It's the outro music. There's a new function, so I'm using the outro music. There we go.
What do I just wait?
Your outro to this. No.
Right. We're going to wrap up, everyone. We will be back next week as soon as we can. Send us your copy. We'll speak to you again very soon. But thank you very much for joining us for another episode of The Fix. And see you next time.
Goodbye.
That's all for this episode, but if you'd like to get your copy reviewed, or you've seen some copy you want Nick and Glenn's opinion on, get in touch at feedback@thefixcopywriting.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and share.